Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Tent of Abraham. I'm Tamir Kreisman from Jerusalem, Israel, and we continue with David King Mashiach. This one is called By the Merit of Torah. So we ended last week's class with the one ingredient that elevated David to the crown, the one thing that all Israel has direct access to, as well as the responsibility to undertake. That is the Torah. The Torah that Moses commanded us is a heritage for who? The congregation of Jacob. Not Israel. Jacob. Very specifically, all y'all who know, you know. This is from Deuteronomy 33:4. David took this very seriously. As he said in Psalms 119:54-56, "Your statutes were to me as songs in the house of my sojournings." In other words, wherever he was. Something temporary. "At night I remembered your name. O Lord, I kept your Torah. This came to me because I kept your precepts." David knew God's name because God shared it with him. Why? Because David kept the Torah. Of this last verse, it says in Avot Rabbi Natan 58, Rabbi Shimon says there are three crowns. 1, the crown of Torah. 2, the crown of priesthood. 3, the crown of kingship. But the crown of a good name is greater than them all. Now, in previous teachings, we discussed that out of these three, the crown of Torah is the greatest, right? So what is this good name, the crown of the good name? Ecclesiastes 7:1. Tov Shem Mishemen Tov, Ve'yom Hamavet Miyom Hivaldo. A good name is better than good oil, and the day of death than the day of one's birth. And what is this good oil but the oil of anointing for the priesthood and for the kingship? So we see already that the name is better than the oil for the priesthood and the kingship. But we know that we are not born into Aaron's line. We cannot be Kohanim, right? If my father is not a Kohen and his father is not a Kohen, going all the way back, I cannot be a Kohen, no matter how much I want to, right? And if we are not born into David's line, from father to son, father to son, father to son, all the way from King David till today, we cannot be kings. Meaning we have no control over how we were born and where we were born or what we were born into. Here we are. Congratulations. You have no control over where you are. The only thing we can control, listen up everybody, is how we choose to live based on where we are. And that is greater than any title, no matter what that title is. Yes, even a priest or even a king. Because when it comes to Torah, no one can learn for you or understand for you and toil for you. All those who need to hear this, I'm speaking to you right now. Yep, that is right, to you. No one can do this for you. You must do this for yourself. This is your job. Otherwise, you are not doing it. But I digress. Let's continue reading from the text. The crown of Torah. This is the crown of Moses. I said in Malachi 3:22, "Keep in remembrance the Torah of Moses, my servant, the laws and ordinances which I commanded him in Horeb for all of Israel." The crown of priesthood. This is the crown of Aaron, which is unattainable, as said in Numbers 18:19. "All the gifts of the holy offering which are set aside by the children of Israel for the Lord, I have given to you and to your sons and daughters with you as an eternal portion. It is like an eternal covenant of salt," like we've been discussing, "before the Lord for you and your descendants with you." That's it. The crown of kingship, this is the crown of David. As said in 2 Chronicles 13:5, "Should you not know that the Lord, the God of Israel, gave the kingdom of David over to David over Israel forever, to him and his sons with a covenant of salt?" Okay, so we see this is unbreakable, the kingship and the priesthood. End of story. These are 2 lines, and these are the lineages. But the crown of a good name eclipses them all. What are you saying? "And anyone who merited the crown of Torah should come and claim it." Claim what? This good name. You see, the crown of Torah is synonymous with the crown of a good name. Aaron did not merit his crown if not for the merit of Torah, as said in Malachi 2:7. For a priest's lips shall guard knowledge, and teaching should be sought from his mouth. For he is a messenger of the Lord of hosts. Now look what it says over here in the Hebrew. Ki siftei kohen ishmeru dat veTorah yevakshu mipihu. It says teachings, that's the translation, but it says, and Torah should be sought after from his lips. Teach me, talk to me. And David did not merit the crown, but for the merit of Torah, as said in Psalms 119:56. Zot hayta li ki pikudecha natzalti. This came to me because I kept your precepts. Keep that in mind, the zot, this. In this context, what did David merit because of the Torah? His crown of kingship. Wow. And the beauty is, as we have just read, and anyone who merited the crown of Torah should come and claim it. But you have to claim it. In other words, it's not like, oh yeah, I know Torah, give me that. It's not how this works, I hope you know. The holy Orach Chaim HaKadosh, Rabbi Chaim ben Attar, said something fascinating regarding David's reign as taken from Jacob's blessing upon his deathbed. Genesis 49:9. Gur Aryeh Yehuda, miteref beni alita, kara ravatz ka'aryeh, uchelavi mi yakimenu. A cub and a grown lion is Judah. From the prey, my son, you withdrew. He crouched, rested like a lion, and like a lion, who will rouse him? Now, as we know, every single prophecy in the Torah is for the near future from the time that prophecy is given to the world, and also relevant everything for the end times, the end of days. That's why all the prophecies that we're reading, we are living in them right now. They're all coming true because you could tell this is the time. Knowing what we know, Judah not only speaks of the Jews, but the king who came forth from Judah, and that is David, referring to David, King Mashiach. Knowing this, what is his prey? What is the prey of this lion, right? His enemies? The other nations? The idolaters? Maybe, sure, why not? Could make sense. But ultimately, listen now, what is our worst enemy as individuals that would be our evil inclination? Who knows you better than you know yourself? Who knows you better than anyone knows you? Who knows exactly your weak points? Who knows your shame and embarrassments, those things that you have not told a soul? Who knows exactly how and when to best affect you and take you down, hitting you, boom, exactly over there, the one place where you want to try and block out? The hint towards this is in the word in Hebrew for crouched from the verse. That word is ravatz, which means lying in wait, almost like an ambush in this context, yes? And what is the point of origin of said word within context? Genesis 4:7. Is it not so that if you improve, it will be forgiven you? Halo im tetiv se'et. What a terrible translation. Halo im tetiv se'et. If you do good, if you do better, tetiv, not tov, tov is good, tetiv, if you do better, se'et, you will be lifted up, ve'im lo, and if not, if you do not do better, im lo tetiv, lafetach chatat, rovetz, here's that word. At the entrance, chatat, chet, sin, is lying in wait for you, and to you it is longing, but you can rule over it, said God to Cain, the son of Satan, okay? First, Judah, son of Jacob, was like a lion cub at first, right? Gul. This was before he descended from his brothers. In other words, up until that point, he was a gul, okay? This is in Genesis 38:1, where it says, Vayhi ba'et ahi, vayered Yehuda me'et echav, vayat ad ish adulami, ushmo chira. Now it came about at the time that Judah was demoted by his brothers, and he turned away until he came to an Adulamite man named Hira. Now the Hebrew literally says descended, but I guess in the simple understanding you could call it demoted. Okay, no problem. Almost. Now, I believe we discussed this in Pirkei Derby Eliezer, that he in fact descended to the second level of the 7 civilizations, right? Within the earth, this one is known as Arka. We discussed it. Why was he demoted? Because he was their natural leader beforehand. But since they saw how much pain the selling of Joseph's story, that they told his father, Talaf Yosef, here's Joseph recognized his coat and the blood and he was killed. Oh no, what did you do to me, right? They saw what it actually did to Jacob. Judah was the shot caller, though he did save Joseph's life. He says, listen, let's not kill him. Let's sell him and let's say that we killed him. Okay, so at least there's that. Nevertheless, big no-no, right? It broke them all. And since he was their leader, they're like, okay, he had to take a step down. So he was no longer their leader, as God had to correct him specifically. Why? For the sake of David. That's why it's not called Mashiach ben Yehuda, but rather Mashiach ben David. So the rectification of Judah was complete in David, but Judah still had to do tshuva, which David was known for, right? If you want a detailed description with all the good stuff about what I'm about to share within a sentence over here, then please find it in the Calling All Jews series. The teaching is titled The Fire of Judah. Watch it. The bottom line being that the mother of kings, Tamir, chose to be burned alive rather than embarrass Judah. She was not, obviously, because the father of kings, Judah, took responsibility for his actions no matter what the cost. We can see both these tremendous qualities within David, and that's why they were worthy of being the father and mother of kings. But now back to Ol HaChaim. Judah was a cub, but after he took responsibility for his actions, after he did tshuva, now he's a man, which is the first step of tshuva, right? Taking responsibility. That is where he became a lion. As he became the one who lies in waiting for the evil inclination to tear it to pieces. God said, you could rule over it. It's up to you. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Judah, he is the one who knocks. And as a result, the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor the student of the law from between his feet, until Shiloh comes, and to him will be a gathering of peoples. The kingship shall never depart from Judah, from David, and his kingdom is everlasting, for he established the foundations of his kingship until Shiloh comes, hinting towards Mashiach. Now, let's take a look from Zohar Shir HaShirim. The Hebrew title of this section, that goes on for several pages, is written in Hebrew while the rest is in Aramaic. And this says the following. Ma'amar Lama Bachar Hashem b'David, the article of why God chose David. He opened and said, Patach ve'amar, and like we said, whenever it says Patach, that means liftoach, something new has been given to the world. New revelation, new information has been given before that it was concealed. Song of Songs 1:4. Draw me, we will run after you. The king brought me to his chambers. Mashcheni acharecha na'urza v'yani amelech hadrav. Okay? It is written in Psalm 63:1, a song of David when he was in the desert of Judah. Come and see. David, the king, has been chosen by the Holy One, blessed be he, more so than any other king in the world, as said in 1 Kings 8:16. Since the day that I brought forth my people, Israel, out of Egypt, I chose no city out of all the tribes of Israel to build a house, that my name might be therein, but I chose David to be over my people Israel. God chose from Judah, he chose Jerusalem, which is a neutral city, technically, and from all his people, he chose David to be over them. Okay, that's it. For what reason? Because David, from the day he shepherded the sheep in the desert of Judea, he would gaze into the wilderness and see the artistry of the Holy One, blessed be he, and he would praise him and say in Psalms 8:4, by the way, shepherding the sheep was not necessarily only when he was shepherding the sheep. Israel as well. We'll see this as said in Psalms 8:4. When I see your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you have established. Now, for what reason did David say this? Because at night, all the people of the world lay down and sleep in their beds, and he would sit in the wilderness, looking at the heavens, the moon, the stars, and the constellations, and all the works of the heavens, as he said, when I see your heavens. And it is written twice, actually, in the same psalm. O Lord, our Master, how mighty is your name in all the earth. Adonai Adonenu ma'adir shimcha bechol haaretz, asher tenahodcha al hashamayim, for which you should bestow your majesty upon the heavens. And he always had reverential fear and praised and elevated the Holy One, blessed be he. Later, he would flee from his father-in-law, King Saul. And throughout all the troubles that he had, he would praise and pray to the Holy One, blessed be he. In other words, first he was a shepherd with actual sheep in the wilderness of Judah. By the way, if you have ever been here to Israel, the Judean desert, I mean, it's 5-minute drive from me. We're right at the edge over there. In the wintertime, the desert is not a desert. It's all green everywhere. So it's like perfect for sheep and everything. Sometimes it gets a little bit hot, but you can actually walk across the desert. It's really not that big. Hiding places, there's no shortage of hiding places. But it's not like, deserts in Africa where if you're there without anything, you're dead. Here you can make it through. Okay. Anyway, it's an interesting place. Anyway, like we said, he always had reverential fear and praise and elevated the Holy and blessed be he. But now, same desert, while Saul is chasing him, his father-in-law, and throughout all the troubles that he had, he would praise and pray to the Holy and blessed be he. Now that he was in the Judean desert, as King Saul was chasing after him, he would sing praises. Until here are the words of the Zohar. In other words, it didn't make a difference to him when he was chill, being a shepherd, or when he was actually fleeing. Same David, you see? And to conclude this part, our sages said there are 10 things by which King David merited the kingship, the very attribute of Malchut. 1, his toil in Torah for its own sake and keeping the commandments. 2, he would rise at midnight, stand and praise the Holy One, blessed be he. 3, he would often, in reverence, praise, elevate, and pray to God. 4, by his good deeds. 5, he was tested by the sheep. David, Jacob, Moses, all shepherds, you see. 6, he walked innocently with his maker. 7, he battled the evil inclination. 8, he was exceedingly humble and contrite before God. 9, he was the 10th of Judah, and the 10th is holy, meaning from Judah to David, 10 generations. 10, he was bound within the name of God, like we learned. Yehudah has the Yud Kei Vav Kei over there, and David also is the Dalid over there for David. Now, sometime in the future, we will do an entire class about what these 10 things actually mean. We will break it down and get into it. But for now, that's the list. Next, the Holy One, blessed be he, helped David throughout his entire life. Helped David. Remember, not only can we see this from Samuel, Kings, and Chronicles, but David sang about it all throughout the Psalms. The word for help is Ezra. Okay, Ezra. Psalm 63:8. For you were my help, and in the shadow of your wings I shall praise. Ki haita ezrata li, ubetzel knafecha aranen. Psalms 70, verse 6. Va'ani ani ve'evyon Elohim chushali ezri umafleti ata, Adonai al ta'achar. But I am a poor and needy, O God, hasten to me. You are my aid, my helper, right? And my rescuer, O Lord, do not delay. 94:17. Had the Lord not been my help, in an instant my soul would rest silent. Lulei Adonai azalta, Ezra, azalta li, ki machachna duma nafshi, like the angel Duma who is over those that are taken down to Sheol. If God didn't help David, he would have been there, he says. Psalms 118:13. Dacho dichyatani linpol va'adonai azreni. Ezra, again over here. You pushed me to fall, but the Lord helped me. Who pushed David to fall? This is God who pushed David to fall, as we see, to descend for the sake of ascending. When David spoke of his enemies, he did so in the plural tense, they, them, and whatnot, pronouns, right? Just like God pushed him to fall, his trust in him is what raised him even higher than he was before. Again, this fall is God placed him in these impossible situations. I don't see a single way out of this in my understanding. That's why David was no ordinary dude. When we get into a situation, right, into a conundrum, if you will, into an uncomfortable situation, to something that squeezes us, the first thing we're going to do is start to sweat and try and figure out, how do I get out of this? Okay, let me figure this out. Let me think. What do I do? And then we can't think clearly because we're bugging. So we start to call friends or family or something. What do I do? Help me this and that. What did David do? What did David do? Hey, man, what do I... No. There's your answer. There's always your answer. Why? Because God did this to you. Oh no, how am I going to get out of it? It's not about you getting out of it. It's about you recognizing who put you there. Why? I need to have a conversation with you right now. He got that. Okay. We should all be so fortunate. So just like God pushed him to fall, his trust in him was raised him even higher than before. Psalms 121:2. My help is from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. End of story. That's it. He did everything. Now, there's so many other places as well, but you get the idea. Non-stop, endless, everywhere. As we said, David knew his maker and he knew who placed him in this situation. The commentator Even Ezra, pun intended, said of these instances, so long as the Lord helps me, I have no need for anyone's help. For even if many would help me, but God did not, it would not benefit me at all, you see. So we can skip over the middleman, if you will, and go directly to God. I know it doesn't work in other religions, right? You got to go through a middleman, but not when it comes to Torah. Go directly to God. King David taught these valuable lessons to his son, King Solomon, and I am sure that Solomon himself, in his God-given supernal wisdom, has seen this manifest throughout his life, as he said in Psalms 127, a song of ascents for Solomon. If the Lord will not build a house, its builders have toiled at it in vain. What are you doing? If the Lord will not guard a city, its watchers keep his vigil in vain. In other words, it doesn't matter what you do. If God is not on our side, it's meaningless. It is futile for you who arise early, who sit late, who eat the bread of toil. So will the Lord give to one who banishes sleep from himself. That being a nod to his father, who ceased to sleep in his latter years, but we'll discuss that another time. The meaning of Solomon's words here are that all the money and all the power and all the manpower and all the knowledge and wisdom and whatnot in the world will not help you if God does not will a thing to happen, said the wisest man to have ever lived. According to this understanding, we can be extremely comforted and relieved because we know that though a man is doing this, that, or the other, someone is doing this to you or whatever, something elsewhere that we don't like, it is still God who allows it and wills it for his name's sake. And so, like we said, if someone is mean to you, God sent him to be mean to you. Why? To see if you would get offended or not, to see if you would get angry or not. I also have to deal with this a lot, okay? And so I'm telling you, this is for my betterment for the sake of heaven. My tikkun atzmi for the betterment of the world, for the rectification of the world. This is how we change things, from the inside out. And that is why God does this. So whenever we are faced with a struggle, any kind of struggle, be it unfortunate happenstance, or if someone actually comes at you, God is doing all of this. And if we do not understand how God could allow such things to happen, then remember, that is not for us to understand, as the why is not relevant to us right now. Who do you think you are? What, God has to explain to you why he does all these things? If we would know exactly the why, then where is the faith and the trust? You see, the whole purpose, these are building exercises. Trust and faith building exercises. Now, why did God help David in every way within every situation that God placed him in? Was it because David was a superior fighter? Was it because he was really, really ridiculously good looking? Was it because he was a really cool guy, good guy? None of the above. The Chida, Rabbi Chaim Yosef David Azulai, the great-grandson of Rabbi Avraham Azulai, wrote in his book Ancient Sayings the following. Our sages said that anyone who possesses Mikra is Torah, like reading Torah, just the simple text, receives an angel to protect him, which comes from the last Hey of the four-letter name of God. So you have the Yud, the Hey, and the Vav, and the Hey. Okay? So if you are anyone who possesses Mikra, when we say possess, it doesn't mean, I read the Parsha. We're talking about that knowledge and that understanding and that desire to understand it, to making all those connections. This, even on this level, is a biblical scholar that does not exist today. Make no mistake. But if a person delves into this, then they receive an angel from the lowest letter, Hey, of the name of God. And if he possesses, in addition to that, Mishnah and Talmud, together with Torah, right? He receives two more angels to protect him, which comes from the letter Vav and Hey. So we have the bottom Hey, then the Vav, and then the Hey, right? These are the two previous letters before the Hey. And if he possesses Torah and Mishnah and Talmud and Agada, Midrash, secrets of the Torah and Sefer Yetzirah, the book of formation, meaning Kabbalah, but is not perfect within the wisdom of Kabbalah. In other words, it's not just enough to read it. You need to know what you're reading, and you cannot have Mishnah without the Torah, and you cannot have Talmud without the Mishnah, and you certainly cannot have Midrash without the Talmud, and you sure as hell cannot have any Torah secrets without all of those things over there. And you should not. But a person who has this, but is not perfect within the wisdom of Kabbalah, in other words, how all these things are put together, how do you learn these things? Sure, anybody could just read words. That's not what we're talking about here. He is called wise and intelligent, Chacham v'Navon. Chacham, Chochma. Navon comes from the word Binah, understanding, translates best as intelligent. But he is not called Maskil. Okay? Not called maskil. In other words, yes, he learns all these things, but he does not understand the wisdom that this comes from God of the hidden secrets of the text. He is not called maskil. Intellectual. Okay? Remember this word maskil. But anyone who is complete with every facet of the Torah on all its levels, Torah meaning all the levels that I just mentioned, the four levels break down to the Pardes. Pshat, Remez, Drash, Sod. Pshat is a simple text. Remez are the hints. Drash is the extra biblical text. Also the understanding, how should we say, measure for measure and whatnot. Sod, secret, along with wisdom and understanding of the secrets. Then he receives all four letters of God's name, and they are obligated to protect him and help him forever. Now listen, what I say, remember maskil, a person who possesses this completion of all facets of the Torah, from the simple text to the hidden, and the wisdom and understanding on all things, that person is called maskil. As said in 1 Samuel 18:14, let's read this in Hebrew, Vayehi David lechol drachav maskil va'adonai imo. And David was, it says, successful in all his ways. And it was, Vayehi David, and behold, David, lechol drachav, in all his ways, maskil, intellectual, successful, whatever you want to translate it. Maskil, meaning we know exactly where he was holding, and as a result, and the Lord was with him, V'Hashem imo, boom. Showing us that David was perfect with his understanding and complete in his learning. Not that he ever stopped learning. You can never be like, oh, well, I know everything. Not at all. You never know everything, not even David. To the contrary, He could not put the books down. He could not get enough Torah. As he said in Psalms 119, 162, Sas anochi alimratecha kemotze shalal rav. I rejoice over your words as one who finds great spoil. Let me ask you a question right now. If you went into your backyard and you started digging, light digging, not even just easy, you take a little like a baby shovel, and you start pushing away some of the dirt over there, and you just found jewels and gold over there. Which one of us, who in the world today would stop doing this? First of all, you build nice high walls around there, shrubs or whatnot, that no one should see what you're doing. This is between you and whatever's going on, and you would just not stop digging, right? The more you dig, the more you get. The more you dig, the more you get. And you would just keep doing that nonstop. And then also, for your loved ones, like, listen, come over to my place. Okay, take a shovel, go back there, start digging. Not for me, this is for you, because once you realize this is endless, they're not taking from your wealth. You've already acquired so much wealth, more than you ever know what to do with. And you start bringing more people and more people. Then you start teaching people how to dig and you see where I'm going with this, okay? I rejoice over your words as one who finds great spoil. He could not get enough. That is what it means to be connected to Torah truly. Not that, okay, well, I did my 2 hours for today, now I'll go do something else. He needed it like air to breathe. Could not get enough. Because the more he learned, the more he knew. And the more he knew, the more he revered God. And the more he revered God, the humbler he got. And the humbler he got, the greater the treasures that were revealed to him, which showed him just how much he did not know. And on and on and on and on. Every door he opened 1,000 more to infinity and beyond. In Psalms 23:4 it says, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Lo ira ra, ki ata imadi. What does this mean? It's written in Tana de Eliyahu Rabbah, the teachings of Elijah the prophet, chapter 3. It says, furthermore, King David, may his memory be blessed, said, my fear or reverence. Again, it is fear, but it's reverential fear. But when I say fear, I have to keep saying reverence because people think afraid. Yes, fear, but a different kind of fear, okay? My reverence is within my joy, and my joy is within my reverence, and my love ascends them both. But before you get to love, you need to understand what is going on over there. You understand? I hope you do. Therefore, the Holy One, blessed be he, made a covenant with me that I should be proficient in the scripture, in Torah, and in Mishnah, and in the laws, that is the Talmud, and in the Agada, that is the Midrash, as said in 2 Samuel 23:5, for my house is not so with God, for an everlasting covenant has he made with me, fully set forth and heeded for all my salvation, and all the desire is before him. For he will not sprout forth another on the throne. Okay, that's just fine. And there is no covenant but the Torah, as said in Malachi 2:5, my covenant was with him, life and peace. And I gave them to him with fear, reverence, and he feared me, revered me, and because of my name, he was overawed. Which is ordered in all things, in scripture and Mishnah, and the laws and Nagadot, and it is kept, meaning retained, so that the words of Torah should be preserved by me forever and for all of eternity. We don't lose the Torah that we learn, because the Torah is not a physical thing. We can only fulfill it in the physical reality that we are in. But the Torah, since it is eternal, when we attach ourselves to that, we attach ourselves to the eternal. And so the only hook, if you will, that we can take from this world to throw over the wall, take us to the world to come, is the Torah and the good deeds that we have. That's it. Your money comes, we are born into the world like this, and when we die, our hands are like this. We take nothing with us, naked and naked. Now, let's ask the question. If David would not be aware that God is always with him, would God have always been with him? If he was not aware that God was always with him, would he be aware? Would God always be with him? Yes or no? Think about it. Answer in 3, 2, 1. No. But he was. As said in Psalms 16:8, meaning David was always aware, I have placed the Lord ever before me constantly, because he is at my right hand, I will not falter. Shiviti Adonai lenegdi, tamid. Negdi is opposing me, tamid, always. God is ever before me. Is that not something every last one of us can do, or at least try to do? We can try. Nobody's going to be on these perfect levels. Forget about perfection. We're not here to do that, right? Perfection is the enemy of progress. If you think you're perfect, you don't have to do anything. You know exactly what I'm talking here if you're not new to this channel. So, of course, this is something that every single human being alive can at least try and do, placing God ever before them. No one said this would be easy, but remember, God is with us when things are good and when things are complicated. He is, after all, the author of everything. He's the one that makes things good and makes things complicated. As said in Isaiah 45:7, please write this down, please. Isaiah 45:7, and remember this, and don't you ever forget this. Who forms light and creates darkness, who makes peace and creates evil. I am the Lord who makes all these. That's it. That's it. Now remember this too. God will not do for you. This is exactly what we said last week. Mashiach's job is not to do for you. His job is to encourage you and inspire you to do for yourself. God will not do for you. As we see with David, God helped him. God did not do for him. It said God helped him. Help, 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 help. Help meaning what? You do for you, God will help you. If you do not move yourself, expect nothing. If you do not change your life and you're going through problems, if you do not change your life, expect nothing. Don't cry out to God. He's not coming. What are you doing? Crying out is not enough. You have to change your ways. But if you move towards God, if you but turn towards God, take that first step, expect assistance. Here's yet another beautiful example from an event that took place back in the day. This is written in Midrash Emor Rabbah from Psalms 27 that reads, of David, the Lord is my light and my salvation. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. From whom shall I be frightened? When evildoers draw near to me to devour my flesh, every word I'm saying here, it matters. Bikarov alai mereim, le'echol et basari, to devour my flesh, my adversaries and my enemies against me, they stumbled and fell. In other words, this happened. He's speaking from experience. What experience is he speaking about? If a camp encamps against me, my heart shall not fear. If a war should rise up against me, in this I trust. Bezot ani boteach. In this is bezot, zot, in this. Now, this is an exceedingly powerful psalm that we say in times of trouble. Psalms 27, read that. It will, if it doesn't bring out some sort of fight in you, meaning not fight, but rather strengthen you, that you know that if you are with God, then He is with you, then nothing could come against you. This is it. Sfardis say this twice a day. Ashkenazim say this from the 1st of Elul to the end of Sukkot, the 21st of Tishrei. Now, I'll give you some background to this psalm, where this came from 1 Samuel. Now, before we read our text, in 1 Samuel 30, while David and his men were away, the Amalekites, Amalek, came and kidnapped all David and his men, all their women and children, completely pillaging the Judean camp. Okay. Now we're going to start to read verse 2. And they had captured the women who were therein, but they slew no one, neither big nor small, but led them away and went on their way. In other words, they kidnapped everyone. And David and his men came to the city, and behold, it was burnt with fire, and their wives and their sons and their daughters had been captured. And David and all the people who were with him raised their voice and wept until they had no strength to weep. First we mourn. And David's 2 wives were captured. And David was in dire straits, for the people spoke of stoning him. For the soul of all the people was grieved, each man concerning his sons and concerning his daughters. But David strengthened himself in the Lord his God. He didn't turn to anybody. They all came to David. Where did David go? The one place that mattered. He then inquired of God, and God told him to go after them, that he would be successful. David had about 400 men with him. Just read 1 Samuel chapter 30. He started with 600, 200 remained, 400, it's whoever. If you have fear, don't go into battle. That means that if you have fear, that means you're not afraid of God. It says, Mi shepoched mi echad, he who fears one, meaning the one, lo poched mi af echad, is not afraid of anyone. Which means if they had fear of Amalek, that means that fear was stronger than the fear of God, which means they were vulnerable. And just like the, the Spartan shield wall thing over there, if one falls, it could take the rest down. Only those who had no fear went out to battle. And no one judged them, because at that point it could have happened to anybody. Okay? So 400 men were with him when he faced the entire Amalekite camp. Verse 17. And David smote them from evening until evening to their morrow, to the next day. And no man of them escaped except for 400 young men who rode on camels and fled. Now listen. And David rescued all that the Amalekites had taken, and David rescued his 2 wives. And there was nothing missing to them, neither small nor great, neither sons nor daughters, nor anything which they had taken to themselves. David recovered everything. Now let's go into the Midrash. Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi interpreted the verse regarding the Amalekites. When evildoers approach me, this is from Psalms 27. Now we're going to go from Psalms 27 connected to 1 Samuel 30. When evildoers approach me, these are the Amalekites. As it is stated, the Amalekites had raided the south and Siklag. 1 Samuel 30 verse 1. To consume my flesh, David's 2 wives, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. They were taken captive. 1 Samuel 30 verse 5. My foes and my adversaries are mine. David smote them from twilight until evening of the next day. Lemacharatam, 1 Samuel 30, 17. When is lemacharatam? Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi said 2 nights and 1 day. So in other words, there was more nighttime than a day over here. Meaning David was fighting Amalek for about 36 hours, most of which took place under the darkness of night. Who illuminated the night for him? The Holy One, blessed be he, with shooting stars and lightning. That is what David said in Psalms 18:29, for you light my lamp, the Lord my God does light my darkness. Meaning, not only the darkness of night, but the darkness that was trying to consume them, to break their spirit. No, we strengthen ourselves in the Lord, and we are going to get what is ours. God allowed this to happen for a reason. Are we just going to sit here and complain about it? Or are we going to put on our big boy pants and do something about it? From here on, David said, if a camp of Amalekites besieges me, my heart will not fear. If war with the Amalekites comes upon me, in this bezot I will put my trust. Psalms 27:3. Bezot ani boteach. What is this zot which David trusts? Was ist das? Rabbi Levi said, in the testament that Moses dictated to us in the Torah, when he said to the elders, this is for Judah, vezot leYehuda. Where do we see this but the blessing of Moses that he gave Judah before he died? You see the connection between Jacob's blessing of Judah and Moses' blessing of Judah. They are connected. Deuteronomy 33:7, may this also be for Judah. Zot leYehuda, v'zot leYehuda. That is the Zot in which David trusted. Now, what is this v'zot? If you read the verse before this, it says, may Reuben live and not die. V'zot leYehuda, meaning also this for Judah. So Judah will live and not die. And Vayomer, Shema Adonai kol Yehuda vel amo tevyenu. O Lord, hearken to the voice of Judah and bring him to his people. May his hands do battle for him, and may you be a help against his adversaries. What Moses said, God obliged. And it was from this moment that David, until the end of time, drew from. David, Judah, Jews, hello. Now, what can we learn from this? I don't know if y'all remember, but around 2.5 years ago, Amalekites from the south, in the image of a man, came in. Savages in the form of human beings came into our land, into our towns. They did unspeakable things to our men, women, and children. They also kidnapped several hundred of us, holding them hostage. As a result, our entire nation was held hostage, tearing each other apart. Oh, look, I guess we have something to draw from. You see, we have laws given by God, especially the ones when it comes to war and warfare. Deuteronomy 20, verse 10, when you approach a city to wage war against it, you shall propose peace to it. First, you start a siege, right? Hey, peace, no peace, let's negotiate. What does it negotiate? What do we say? And it will be, if it responds to you with peace, and it opens up to you, then it will be that all the people found therein shall become tributary to you, and they shall serve you. In other words, you're not making out of this alive. Bunch of death, or we can have peace, and this is how it goes because you're on our land. But if it does not make peace with you, and it wages war against you, you shall besiege it. You close that siege, right? And the Lord your God, this is written, will deliver it into your hands, and you shall strike all its males within the edge of the sword. King David did not even have a city to approach. He didn't wait for negotiations. He didn't ask anyone to come to the table. And he certainly did not send 800 truckloads of food on a daily basis, supplying his enemies while they were starving his people. That didn't happen. This behavior that we have seen, shameful at best, because in all actuality, the way this whole thing went down was directly contrary to the written word of God. So none of this is surprising, really. But if we would have done what was right, like David, and not wavered, but taken responsibility for what took place, meaning everything that led up to that point, because it was our fault after all, given recognition to God and asking God for help, we, like David, would have gotten back every last one of our people, as God would light up the skies for us through lightning flashes and shooting stars. The time is upon us, my friends. The flashes are returning, and the hand of God is about to be revealed. So, eyes open. And let us not forget, all this was done for David, not because he was a cool dude, a great warrior, or a really good-looking guy. He did all this for David from then unto eternity by the merit of David's Torah. And that is our class. I hope you had as much fun as I did. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and have a Shabbat Shalom.